The most formative years are from kindergarten through 8th grade. They're starting their life and they're starting to think about what they believe and why they believe it.
For us, as parents of one child, the importance when we first had Colin was trying to find a school where he'd be safe, comfortable, and happy, and he's going to thrive. And the minute we walked in the door, we kind of felt that ourselves, so we knew this was kind of the right school for Colin.
I look at parents here at Legacy as a team. I feel like there are some parents who I'll call on the phone and I'm like, hey, your student's struggling, and instead of that a lot of times being bad news, they look at it as, okay, what can we do to work together to get our kid there?
The teachers do give me confidence because they help us grow in learning, and whenever we don't understand things, they always are like, come on, you can do it, I'll help you, and I just love that about the teachers.
Colin loves it. I mean, he absolutely loves going to school. He has a joy and a happiness about it. When you pick him up, you can see it on his face. He can't imagine going anywhere else.
No.
He loves it.
I'm a teacher myself. I teach at a high school, and every year I can literally pick out the Legacy kids. They're polite, they're confident, and they're super prepared for a 10th grade class, and they're only 9th graders.
We learn about things that I don't think even my dad knows or my mom knows. It's really helped me be prepared for any road I want to take in the future.
Because my son and daughter went to Legacy, they had a very strong foundation. So when they went to high school and started taking all of the AP and honors classes, it really didn't faze them.
The teachers at Legacy exhibit a stellar character, and they're great examples to my kids.
These are just really good teachers. I don't know where they're getting them, but they're really good teachers.
Because the teachers are always by our side and they're always there to help us whenever we need help.
In science, I can share through God's creation. I can actually explain, isn't this awesome? Isn't this cool to see what God's created? And I feel like that spurs them on to want to have a relationship with Him.
The best part about teaching is to see the enthusiasm and the joy that comes from students when they're learning a new concept, when they're excited to research something even further.
I'm not going to be using last year's methodology when there's a new current methodology to use, and Legacy puts that in our hands.
So Legacy's just launched a state-of-the-art computer lab. This place is amazing. It looks almost like an Apple store. We have 4K TVs all around the walls, so anywhere the students look, they can see what the teacher has displayed on his computer.
Legacy is a training ground for students to be successful in the rest of their lives.
It is a National Blue Ribbon School of Academic Excellence. If I could describe Legacy in one word, it would be Christ-like. Amazing. Awesome. Spectacular.
Fantastic.
Life-changing.
Excellent.
I've been here since kindergarten, and I just never want to leave.
I would not want to go to any other school.
There just is no place like Legacy.
The truth is, I don't know how I would have raised 5 kids without Legacy.
Well, I can tell you this. When it comes to Legacy, and when it comes to investing in your kids' education at an early age, I see return on that investment every day. Every day.
Well, good evening to all of you out there. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us for our Kindergarten Information Night. We are so grateful that you have expressed an interest in Legacy Christian Academy for your child. And as you've seen from the video, we can probably just go ahead and end our presentation right now because that video just so wonderfully sums up what we're doing here at Legacy, the impact that we're making on students and on their families. And we're just so privileged to be really able to make a wonderful impact in the Valley of Santa Clarita for God's glory and for the equipping of young people. And so tonight, even though it's a little different, our hope is that you would walk away with a comprehensive understanding of what our program is about, those 4 pillars, those core principles that our school is founded upon, and that you would be interested in coming on to our campus and taking a tour. So we're going to spend some time tonight. You're going to get to be able to hear from some of our leadership team. You're going to hear a testimonial from a current parent. You're going to see a couple other videos that we've put together. And then we're going to end our time with a quick Q&A where you'll be able to ask questions and we'll answer those to the best of our ability through this new means of technology that we're using. So let me begin our time with a word of prayer, ask God's blessing on our evening, and then we'll continue. God, thank you for all of those who are tuning in their homes. We are saddened not to be able to meet face to face, but we're grateful that we live in a day and age where we can communicate through technology. And we ask that all of those parents out there and families that are considering their education for their child and children would walk away from tonight with an understanding of what you're doing here at Legacy through our staff and through our curriculum and our programs. And you would just direct the families as they make decisions, as they go through the application process and take a tour and assess and all the steps that are before them as they consider kindergarten for next school year. Pray that you give them great wisdom and discernment, and allow us as well to be able to answer the questions that they might have and guide and direct them, as we want this to be a partnership with our parents and with the common goal for just developing the hearts and minds of their children. And we ask your blessing on tonight. In Christ's name we pray, amen. Well, thankfully tonight we aren't having to compete with the Dodgers game, and so we're grateful for that, and thank you again for tuning in. Legacy is a special place, and one of the main reasons for Legacy being such a special place is the people that are here as our staff come to work every day and pour into the lives of their students. That's really the fabric of our program. And two very special people who had a vision for Legacy were our founders, Tim and Donna Burrell. And as you go on the tour, you'll be able to hear a little bit of the history of how Sunshine was a dream of theirs, and from after-school programs to summer camps to preschools, God just used their vision for character development and education of young minds to really make a huge impact in our community, and then allowing them to start Legacy Private Academy and grow that program year after year to where in 2002 we were able to move into our current building and add on grade levels to where now we're a kindergarten through 8th grade private Christian school, Legacy Christian Academy. And we're just so grateful for their vision, their continued insight and mentorship to our leadership team. And our leadership team is made up of some of the most wonderful educators and leaders in the Santa Clarita Valley. You can see them there on your screen. You're going to be able to hear from our two associate heads of school tonight as well. But that's just a quick picture of our leadership team. But really what makes Legacy work and what makes our students love coming to school is their beloved teachers. And we have in our kindergarten team, we have over 25 years of educational experience, teaching experience in our two teachers, Mrs. Littlepage and Mrs. Espinoza. Mrs. Espinoza has been with Legacy for 14 years and has been teaching kindergarten for a number of years. And before that, she was one of our 5th grade teachers. And then Mrs. Littlepage has been teaching for 12 years and has been at Legacy for 11 years. So just a lot of experience right there in our classrooms, particularly with such a crucial grade level where students are beginning to learn about what it means to be in class and to learn. We have a ton of people pouring into our students, but primarily our teachers and our teachers' assistants are developing our students. Now, for our time tonight, we're going to be hearing from the two associate heads of school and myself, and we also have the treat of being able to hear from a parent testimonial as well. But before we do that, I want to just express to you just how grateful we are that you're taking the time to listen in on our presentation. And for us, we recognize that a Legacy parent wants to invest in their child's education early on. And so the investment that you are making as a Legacy parent, we applaud you for that. We take our Legacy education very seriously. And each of our staff members come to school each day at the top of their game. And so the goal of tonight's presentation is to make you aware of the type of education your child will receive. And as we lay that out, as we share what we're currently doing, we're excited that you would be able to, in just a few short months, really just around the corner, you would be able to experience that very distinct experience that is a legacy education, really distinct from any other education that you'll find in the Santa Clarita Valley. And as you know, we were selected as a 2015 National Blue Ribbon School of Excellence, and that's an honor that we just hold very, very dear. Very few private schools have earned that distinction, and only about 50 private schools in the LA County have ever been given that distinction. And additionally, we've also been recognized as a place that our employees love to come to work, and so we were given the distinction of Best Christian Workplace in 2016 as well. And then also we've been awarded the Best Private School in Santa Clarita by the Signal a contest for a number of years, and most recently this year as well. So as you can see, there's many accolades that we could point to that affirm what we are doing here in terms of accomplishing our mission and impacting students. And tonight we want to talk to you about 4 hallmarks. And the first hallmark that I get the joy of being able to share is that joy of learning. That joy of learning you can see expressed on students' faces as they come through our doors and interact with our teachers, interact with the curriculum. They're excited to learn. They're creating habits in their life and in their educational journey that they don't even really understand yet the full benefit that they are receiving by the habits they're practicing right now, whether that's being able to be a good note taker, a good listener, to sit and engage with the teacher in a way that it doesn't disrupt the classroom. Those are practices as a young kindergartner that will benefit them throughout their life in education and in the workplace. We really believe that being able to take these principles that we're imparting into the students, they're going to be using those life skills and those tools for the rest of their life. And so we want to create an environment for our students that they love to learn, they love to explore, and they love to try new things. And so creating an environment where it's okay to try something and come up short. Being able to put yourself out there and experience failure, even as a growing experience, is something that is very important in the development of a young child. So creating a positive environment is accomplished in a number of different ways. Our physical building really invites students to come into the classroom ready to learn. One of the distinct things about Legacy as a private Christian school is that our building was designed as a school first and primarily. We don't share our facilities with any other programs, or we're not tied to a local church where we're sharing the facilities on a weekend. The structure of the classroom and how it's set up, and you'll see this when you take a tour, it's built with our students in mind, beginning in kindergarten, going all the way up to our 8th graders. So as they come into the classroom, it's bright, it's fun, it invites them to be part of the learning process. And as you hear more about our academic program, the building and the classrooms are structured to where we can accomplish those things that are important to us for ensuring that our students learn. So creating this permanent space for them where each day as they come to school, they're coming into a place that invites them into the learning process. We've invested quite a bit into our safety protocols as well. Even before we moved into this building, the safety of the child's mind and their heart and their emotions, their spiritual well-being was a component of our program that parents came to appreciate. And as times have changed, we've looked at our physical building and assessed very carefully and intentionally how we can maintain a safety for our students. And in this day and age, it's conversations that need to be had. So we've had companies come in, and we've partnered with the sheriff's department to have an assessment, to look at threat assessments and make adjustments. So in terms of our physical building, we've always had a closed campus, but in addition to just creating a closed campus, we've installed cameras throughout the campus. We've also put together a computer kiosk where families who are visiting our school and walking past the front office have to scan their driver's license, and that runs the driver's license against any number of databases that we would want to be aware of. And if any sort of information that is necessary or any reason why that person shouldn't be on an elementary campus, that person would be flagged and our front office would be notified. The administration would get a text message stating that this person has tried to check in onto our campus, and we can address that right away. It works in real time, and we've actually seen that in practice. I'll tell you a little story of just common names. For example, a Mr. Johnson, who's a longtime dad, comes, he's going to volunteer in the classroom. He scans his driver's license, and his first name and his last name match someone who was recently arrested in Maryland. Well, if there's any information missing from that arrest, the name match has actually been flagged for us over these last couple of years, where a photo of the person in Maryland, for example, would come up onto the screen and match the photo of our parent, and our front office can very quickly see that by comparison, that name and that concern does not match, and so they can override that and allow for our dad to enter to volunteer. And that's happened a few times, and I'll tell you, it's a little nerve-wracking for the parent, and maybe for whatever reason they're in a hurry or they're not quite sure, well, I've been here so many times, why am I getting flagged? But at the end of the day, it's a reassurance to them that the system is working. It's preventing those who should not be on our campus from trying to gain entrance to our campus. So the driver's license scan, each family has an individual code that they input. Our families have key fobs as well that they utilize at the front door as well. So those card readers are utilized also by our staff. All of our doors on the exterior remain locked. And during the school day, if any time we needed to do a lockdown, at the press of a button, all of our doors, interior doors, will go on a lockdown and automatically lock with that mechanism there as well. All of our exterior windows and glass surfaces on campus have a bullet-resistant laminate installed on those as well. And then lastly, and probably most visibly, is our security guard, armed security guard who's on campus. And for us, it's really important to have someone on site who's trained and capable of engaging a threat, but also is a part of our community and can interact with a kindergartner, and then also make our parents and our staff and our older students who can understand who he is and what he's doing feel safe while they're here. Our safety measures have gone above and beyond over the last several years, and just in terms of, as a side note, even with these things with COVID-19 and the safety protocols that we have in place to allow for our students to return, we have a very extensive reopening plan that's posted on our website. So I encourage you, if you have questions about how we're approaching and planning for the return of students to return to campus, we've been very thoughtful about gaining insight and direction from directors at Henry Mayo and nursing staff as well, who are on the front lines and can speak to best practices as well, following the guidelines that are laid out. In addition to just the physical safety and physical environment that we've spent so much time trying to develop, we also recognize that how students interact with one another, how staff interact with students is very important. So positive reinforcement is something that we have always made a priority. It's been one of our core values. And I know positive reinforcement is being talked a lot about now in the educational world, but Legacy was on the forefront of that, and dating all the way back to Sunshine Preschool and Sunshine Day Camp. These are formative years, and for our kindergartners, it's critical that they understand the importance of good practices, first-time listening, self-control. We'll talk a little bit about character development later in our presentation. But being able to instruct and guide and shepherd our students is really only accomplished by coming alongside them and doing so in a way that's positive, encouraging, and really highlighting those things that students are doing well, doing with excellence, even as they have effort in growing in areas where there might be an established weakness. We want to encourage them as they continue to develop in our school. So in terms of our discipline policy, we believe that's a partnership with our families where we come alongside and we encourage and direct our students to really seek out proper behavior, proper classroom behavior, proper interactions with their other students and their friends, and how they approach conflict resolution. We want to handle that all with the love of Christ through a biblical lens and with positive reinforcement. So you're going to hear your student come home with great excitement for a school day where they learned a lot and they experienced challenges throughout the day, but they're excited to be at Legacy because unbeknownst to them, they're developing lifelong skills that they'll be able to use as they grow. I can talk about Legacy as an administrator. I can also talk to you as a parent of Legacy. I myself have 4 children. My oldest is in 8th grade. My oldest son, 8th grader. I have a daughter who's in 7th grade. I have a son who's a 5th grader and another son who's a 3rd grader. So I have seen the impact of our faculty and our program in my own home, which has been a true joy to see, having known the benefits of a Legacy education as an administrator for so many years, and then to be able to see it tangibly affect and impact my own children, and to see, as they're all very different, having gone through the different grade levels, to see how teachers took the time to connect with my students and my children and really help them to develop. I speak to you as an administrator, school leader, but I also speak to you as a parent. And we have a testimonial that we want to share with you right now of a current Legacy parent, kind of sharing a little bit about how she came to the decision with her husband that Legacy was the place for their family.
My name is Brendy Heater, and I currently have a 2nd grader here at Legacy. I've been a part of the Legacy family as a parent for 2 years, and it's been an amazing experience. Every time I feel like Legacy can't get any better, the staff and the administration manages to knock it out of the park, and we always look forward to the next season that Legacy has to offer. Even with all the ups and downs that happen in every year, but especially in the last few months, I've felt really supported as a parent, and my son is always excited to come home from school regardless of what's happening in the world around him. He absolutely loves Legacy, and every day he comes home more excited than the last. What made us ultimately pick Legacy was the family environment, but the emphasis that they placed on character development and integrity was very impressive. Obviously, we were interested in the academics, but immediately we felt that the teachers and staff and administration genuinely cared about my child's heart and their character, not just the academics. One of the best parts of being a Legacy parent is watching my child really strive for excellence, even in areas that he struggles in. There was a really cool moment where there was a time where he thought he couldn't do math and he was really frustrated, and the staff came around and they supported him in a way that left him feeling he could do math, and he was really excited about the new challenges, and the staff and his teachers loved him through that process, and it was really cool to watch. If I could give one piece of advice to prospective legacy families, I would encourage you to take the in-person tour, because there's so much that you can get in person walking the halls of Legacy that you can't get from a website, that you can't even get from parent testimonials. The tour is really what sealed the deal for us, because we felt the love and the affection and the professionalism from the staff right away. The kindergarten years are very formative as they're developing character, they're developing a love of learning and becoming lifelong learners, and there's no better place than Legacy to make that happen.
Our goal at Legacy is to meet the needs of each and every individual student that walks through our doors, to help them reach their full potential as lifelong learners. Each child at Legacy knows without a doubt that they're loved and cared for, that their teachers and administrators want what's best for them. They aren't just a number in a large class size. The problem with large class sizes is that more time tends to be spent on behavior management than on actual instruction. And instead of being pushed to reach their full potential, students are actually asked to be tutors for those who are struggling to reach grade level standards. This is in stark contrast to Legacy, where class sizes are limited to 26 or 27 students, and where we have the blessing of having 2 qualified assistant teachers, many of whom are credentialed. Having 2 gifted instructors during core instruction periods creates that 13-to-1 teacher to student ratio. That's an impressive number in and of itself, but what we're able to do with that number is even more impressive. At Legacy, we know that students need to be given the opportunity to progress at their own individual rate, to be met where they're currently at, and then pushed to excel still more to that next level. The way we accomplish this is through differentiated small group instruction. Every 15 minutes, students rotate through 3 different groups. They go from the teacher to the assistant teacher to 1 or 2 independent parent volunteer-led centers, bringing that child to adult ratio closer to 9-to-1 or less. Receiving instructions that is geared to specifically their individual level prevents students from being exasperated, from information being too challenging, or bored, information being too easy. When instruction is geared to their individual level, students soar and learning truly becomes a joy. As a private school, we have the freedom to choose whichever curriculum that we feel like is most relevant. We ensure our curriculum is based on scientific research, it is aligned with our learning goals, and also a Christian worldview. One example of that would be our Roland reading curriculum. It is truly second to none when it comes to a research-based, explicit phonics instruction program. This program helps build fluent readers by the end of kindergarten. Readers who aren't afraid when they get to a really long word because they have the confidence and the tools that they need to sound out each part of that word. You'll notice a few other curriculums that we have on the slide to come. Sadly, I don't have the time to go into each and every one of these curriculums, though my curriculum geek nature would love to do that for you. I do want to point out, you'll see the Mind Research Institute and the Progress in Mathematics and something we call Target the Question. These all work together to help students be trained to think critically, become problem solvers, and advance at an accelerated rate. I know it's hard to imagine right now, but with our accelerated math program, Legacy 8th graders have the opportunity to enter high school a full 2 years ahead of their peers by being able to enter honors geometry as an 8th grader. Within each of these curriculums, teachers utilize something called the depth and complexity icons. Most public schools use these icons in their GATE programs, but at Legacy, we believe that each and every student can benefit from the use of these icons, and it'll enhance their ability to think critically. And while you may not remember every detail of our presentation tonight, I do hope you walk away this evening realizing that Legacy was named as one of the top schools in the nation, and you don't just have to take our word for it. Legacy students all take nationally ranked standardized tests, the SAT-10 for kindergarten through 5th grade and the ACT Aspire for 6th through 8th grade. If you take a look at Legacy's kindergarten scores from our last test, you'll see that in reading they scored in the 97th percentile. This is the top 3% of the nation, proof that Legacy's instructional methods and curriculums are working. Another hallmark of Legacy's program is our strong enrichment program. On top of accelerated academics, another one of the many things that sets us apart from other schools is our comprehensive enrichment program. At a time when many schools are cutting their extras, Legacy continues to invest in them. That's because we believe that these enrichment programs are absolutely an essential part of developing well-rounded students who are ready for the challenges of the 21st century. We've actually put together a little video to help you get a better visual of what our enrichment program is all about.
The enrichment program here at Legacy really is focused on getting the student to be well-rounded.
We're not just teaching our kids curriculum and the core subjects. The kids are able to experience and explore through a ton of other classes. These are the types of classes that you're not going to find at any other school.
It's really neat to see them do things that are hands-on and have a love for it, that they want to learn more. If you create an excitement within a child that they want more and they ask for more, you know you're doing something right.
In addition to the 2 classroom teachers that educate all of the core subjects, Legacy provides 8 enrichment teachers that are experts in their subject. These enrichment classes include art, music, Spanish, PE, computers, Bible, library, and science.
They have their core classes in the morning with their homeroom teacher, and then in the afternoons, they're gonna go to a variety of different subjects.
Enrichment classes are so fun, and you get to learn different things every time you go in class.
The Discovery Lab is really exciting, and there's so much to see about it. And Mr. Anthony is really funny, too, so he makes it a lot of fun to learn.
I like having a teacher that's focused on each subject. You know that they're really good and they're chosen because of the fact that they could teach that really well.
We have close to 10,000 books in our collection. We have some really passionate readers. One of our students has read over 7 million words just this school year.
Mi favorito clase es español.
Spanish is one of the languages that is spoken around the world. Just even in a job application, if you're able to put down that you speak a second language, it'll get a lot more doors opened.
Well, technology is getting more and more important. If you don't know a lot about computers and technology, you won't really get very far.
One of the coolest things here at Legacy is the Innovation Lab.
It's like walking into technology.
I think it's probably the coolest computer lab that I've ever seen.
They let us stand because it's better for your brain when you stand and work.
In our new innovation lab, I've used a 3D printer, and we get to design and create a model of different objects like in real life.
We have a student news network, and the kids will sit at a computer, write a script, think it out. Then they get in front of a camera, they'll film it all. Then they're using professional software like Final Cut Pro to cut all this footage, and then they'll produce a final product that's really impressive.
My favorite part about enrichment classes is that we get to go on field trips like JPL.
I like that when they come into Science World, they get to take their learning and experience it.
Right now we are dissecting owl pellets. I really like it.
I live for the word whoa or what. I know I've done my job if I can get that excitement out of my kids.
One cool thing we've done in science is building rockets.
My favorite enrichment class is art because I love to draw and I love to just be myself and show who I am.
I love to invite like a panel of 10 working professional artists that are current so they can see how what we're doing in class can lead to becoming an awesome Disney animator or an interior designer or an amazing sculptor.
What I try to do is make it fun so that they're getting the exercise but not really realizing that they're getting it.
We believe firmly that the Bible is the Word of God, and so what we're trying to teach the students is really about that Word of God, to teach them to understand who God is.
In music, we get to play the keyboards and the piano.
The kids are in Christmas musicals every year, and every kid has a part, whether it's a solo or a speaking part.
As full-time staff, we have the time and energy to devote to making the lessons they're learning incredible. Whereas if a homeroom teacher had to carry that load, all those different subjects, it's just not humanly possible.
The value of a legacy education is priceless. Most students in a typical school benefit from one classroom teacher. Legacy provides 2 classroom teachers, plus 8 enrichment experts who invest in each student's education and overall development during their 9 years at Legacy.
All right, well now I get a chance to talk about our 4th hallmark here at Legacy, which is Christian character building. We provide a Christian school environment with excellent role models, and that really does come down to our staff and our faculty, our teachers. In the classroom, they teach everything with a biblical worldview. The teachers will have classroom devotions, memory verses, and all kinds of ways that we can grow our students in their character development. We also have a dedicated Bible teacher, which not a lot of schools can have that. So our teacher teaches all the grades K through 8. He's seminary trained, and he just does a wonderful job bringing the Bible to life in our classrooms. We also have weekly chapel. Our theme this year at chapel is God is faithful to all of his promises. We also have a character spotlight program, which is basically our Student of the Month program. And in this Student of the Month, students are working hard at learning the character traits of attentiveness, responsibility, diligence, gratitude, and many, many more. And so each month, a student is chosen from a class, and they get to be celebrated in chapel and receive a gift certificate. And we just love the Character Spotlight program here. And we also have another character program called Character Caught. Tomorrow in chapel, we actually get to recognize 4 students. The Character Caught program is when students are caught showing great character. They can be caught by their teacher, an assistant teacher, a front desk lady, or even one of their peers. They might notice them doing something really kind, and so they can write up a little summary of what happened, and we recognize those students throughout the year. We also have a student incentive program. This year, we haven't been able to roll out and launch that program since we don't have all our students back on campus, but last year we had the Legacy CEO, and this was Chief Encouragement Officers, and our students worked really hard to be encouragers, to encourage their friends and their teachers, and a student would earn a badge that said CEO, Legacy CEO, and they got to wear that proudly throughout the year as being recognized as being an encourager. So many ways that our students can develop their character. One other way that we do this is through our Heart Work program. We have an emphasis on the heart, and this is an awesome monthly activity as a family. We send home a worksheet, and you as a family get to sit down and study through what character trait of the month that our students are learning about. And you get to talk about those things in the home and really try and practice those things with siblings and with parents and grandparents. And so our Heart Work, the first Monday of every month, is also a highlight for our students. So not only do we have a Christian school environment with excellent role models, we also offer extracurricular activities. We have contract classes. Some of our contract classes are drama, student government, mad science, robotics, chess, Mandarin. We have little kickers. We even have cooking with a trained chef who studied under Wolfgang Puck. So a lot of options for our students to do some after-school classes. And then we also have an excellent sports program. Our sports start in first grade, and we have a competitive league where we compete against the other private schools here in the Valley. And we go through football, basketball, soccer. We even have a softball team, volleyball, and cheerleading. And our cheerleaders bring so much energy to our sports games. And so just such a great part of our programming is allowing our students to compete for our school throughout this valley. And so that's all I have to talk about as far as extracurricular activities and Christian character development. So I'm going to call up Mr. Millette to finish off our evening.
All right. Well, we're wrapping up our evening, and I want to just take a moment and share with all of you just the long view for you guys. Right now, you're thinking about kindergarten. You're thinking about those first steps of education, and perhaps you're at Sunshine. You've been thinking about Legacy for a number of years. Maybe you're tuning in and checking us out from another preschool. But your journey at Legacy starts in kindergarten. But the pathway takes all of our students, our alumni, to amazing opportunities. And so these are just a handful of the universities and higher education institutions that our students have gone on to. And what's wonderful about Legacy now in our history is that we're actually being able to invite back our alumni to share stories about not only high school, college, but now the workforce and the impact that they're having in the business world or in the science world, and just being able to hear them share that their experience at Legacy propelled them to what they're doing right now. So we have had an alumni week this past year. We had a spotlight lecture series from a financial advisor who started at Legacy and was able to just share how the skills that he learned throughout his time at Legacy, kindergarten all the way through 8th grade, really prepared him to excel, continue to excel at high school, and then be prepared to attend the Ohio State University, and then go on to work with a small investment group here in Los Angeles. So what Legacy produces in terms of students, learners, leaders is really, really exciting. And to be able to see tangibly the fruit of that as our alumni come back has been a special joy for us. So tonight, as we've talked through those hallmarks of Legacy being the joy of learning, our accelerated academic program, our strong enrichment program, and then the Christian environment and biblical foundation that we provide, I hope that we've given you just a glimpse of what we're doing here. Again, it's difficult to not have you seated with us in a room, and we're excited for that time when we can invite you to experience Legacy together corporately. But I do want to just share a few next steps for you. If you haven't taken a tour, that would be the next step for you. We are offering tours in the afternoons after the students who are in child care here have gone home, and that's with our co-founder, Donna Burrell. She'll walk you into the classroom, show you our STEM wing, allow you to get, again, another picture of what Legacy is all about. It's a small group setting. Walk through the campus, meet some of our staff, and really get a sense of what is going on here at Legacy. And so the first step to set up a tour would be to go on our website, legacy-christian.com, and go to the Visit Legacy tab and complete the admissions inquiry form. That form will notify our front office that you would like more information, and someone from our front office will give you a phone call, and they will set up a tour for you and talk through all of the details for that. But getting into our building is one of the most wonderful experiences that current families look back on and state that as they were considering a Legacy, it was really that opportunity to take a tour with Donna that really sealed and finalized their decision. An application would be the next step for our families. And if you've already filled out an admissions inquiry form, perhaps you've taken a tour already, we have your contact information. Our front office is going to be emailing out families who have completed the AIF form and emailing out the application for families to to print off and fill out and return to us. And then once, if you haven't done that admissions inquiry form, once you do that and we connect with you over the phone, our front office will email that application to you as well. And so here's a couple dates to keep in mind. Our early bird registration for our families, and this would be included in for you as prospective families to turn in that application, would be November 9th to the 13th. That's when we give our families an opportunity to get an early bird discount on the registration fee. And then our kindergarten applications are actually due back to us on December 11th. So as you think through scheduling a tour and getting all the information that you need to make an informed decision, we want to give you enough time to fill out that application and then turn that in by December 11th, because our kindergarten assessment day will be on February 6th. And I want to make just a little note about our kindergarten assessment day. We call it a play day. You'll see on the screen there those things that we're really trying to gain an understanding of where our prospective students are developmentally, whether academically, interpersonally, just being able to allow them to interact with some of our kindergarten teachers, interact with some of other students, and allow them to go through a series of exercises and practices just to understand where they are in their development and if they're showing signs of readiness for the accelerated program that we have here at Legacy. There's not really anything in terms of preparation. Don't start quizzing and testing your student at home in preparation for this February 6th date. Give them the opportunity to continue to learn their preschool. In the email that will be sent with the application will be a flyer that sort of details out a little bit more some of those things that we're looking for. It'll be called, "Is Your Child Ready for Kindergarten?" That's not to state that if there's a weakness that's shown that's a concern for us, that's not to say that your child is not ready for kindergarten. It's just that we want to make sure that the students that are admitted into our kindergarten program are a right fit and ready to handle the rigors of our program. So that flyer will give you some insight into some things that you can be on the lookout for. You can maybe ask your preschool teacher, hey, where are we just in terms of the year remaining in preschool, and will he be able to, or she will be able to really master these things that we're looking for. But really we want to just kind of observe and allow for the students to play with one another and interact with our staff and get a picture of and a good sense of where the students are. So be looking for information on that as well. Our class day for kindergarten runs from 8:15 to 1:45, and then following the President's Day weekend, we do extend our school day to 2:30. So just be aware of that, just in terms of the length of time that our students are here. That's to help them prepare for our first grade dismissal, which is at 3 o'clock, and it allows us to extend our offerings in our art, in our Spanish even more during that time, and allows our classroom teachers more time with the students as well. So hopefully you've gotten a sense of what our program is about. We do want to allow for about 10 minutes of Q&A and some instructions about that. In a moment, we're going to go to a logo on the screen, which will allow us to kind of get set. You can refresh your window in your browser. If you don't see the chat feature already automatically pop up, you refresh that. And within that chat box, you can type in your questions. We have someone manning the computer that's going to be able to share those questions with us, and then we'll get to as many questions as we can. We want to honor this this hour that we have with you. And certainly, if we don't get to your question, we'd be happy to answer that question on a tour and just make sure that you have all the information that you need. So we're going to go to a time of Q&A right now. Well, we're not seeing any questions in the chat box at the moment, and that means that we've answered all your potential questions. So thank you so much for joining us. This video will be available on our YouTube page for the remainder of the week. So if you know of anyone who was unable to catch it tonight and would like to view it, go ahead and share the link with any friends that you know may be looking at kindergarten for next school year. And again, in terms of next steps, I encourage you to go onto our website, www.legacy-christian.com. Select that tab that says admissions and then visit Legacy. And then there's a little line there that says admissions inquiry form. Complete that form. That'll alert our front office to give you a phone call. If you've done that inquiry form, look for the application and the flyer for kindergarten readiness. And we look forward to walking along these next steps with you as you consider education for your young one. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us tonight. Have a great rest of your evening.